looking at this right? Yeah. So glazing, scumbling. These are the two demos I'm going to do today. They both are about color adjustments. I gave you that little like bad drawing about how glazing layers can mix color. If, for example, if you remember your complementary painting exercise with your color scales, if you mix orange and blue, you get these browns in the middle. So sometimes when I'm glazing, I will glaze with pure orange and then put pure blue on top and put additional layers on to adjust the warmth or coolness of it. And it does look, it gives you a real deep color that is much richer than when you're just looking at this kind of, you know, just one coat basically of quickly brushed paint. So that's how glazing works. It's a very thin, transparent laze. What was, where did the R go? That's my fault. Little transparent layers of liquid. It's just a little bit of paint, and you're doing it over dry paint, okay? If you do it over wet paint, then obviously it's gonna mix it up. Scumbling is not that dissimilar, but it's dry brush, no medium, keep the brush dry literally, like no Gamsol, no liquid, no nothing, and that goes on top of dry paint too. So the way it works is this. So I've laid out, because this is what I know what I want to do with these guys. So I have here, just, I know it's hard to see, but I've got magenta, okay? And I don't have any white out here. You know, I had to add white to some of these colors to bring the intensity of the pigment up so you could see that it was green. Because as you recall, some of these colors, especially the darker ones like blues, greens, magentas, violets, they come out of the tube and they look almost black, you know. And so normally if you're painting like this, you need to add white to them so that they lighten up a little bit. However, when you're glazing or you're scumbling, you want to be careful about that, especially glazing. You really don't want to use a lot of white. You just want to use the color, but it's mixed really, really thinly. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm gonna put out a little liquid. With your liquid, you want to shake it up. And I'm not going to use a lot. I'm just going to put out a tiny little bit, because these are small paintings. I don't really need very much. So Daniel's happy because I'm not wasting all his paint. Okay. Alrighty. So let's say, for example, what I want to do is I want to warm up one of these petals. I want it to be redder. Like this is a nice red kind of in here, but I want this one to be redder as well. So what I do is I will take just a little bit of the red, again I'm holding it up so you guys can see, just a little bit of red like that, and a lot of the liquid, like really thin layers of paint. And I'll paint it down here. So you can see I cover it up like this, and now the whole petal looks a little bit redder. And I'm painting it over the entire thing, the light, the dark. So I'm not affecting really or moving the paint around that's already dry. I'm just making that whole petal look a lot redder than it just did about 30 seconds ago. So now this looks warmer and redder than the one that I thought was warmer and redder first. I'll just put a little, and you don't have to do it over the whole thing. Like if you just want a little bit, that's like I just want on that part or that part or that part or that, and then stop, okay? Same thing here, I'm thinking that this is a little bit too yellow. I want it to be orange. Well, you don't have orange in your kit, so I'm gonna mix the yellow with the red, or glaze it with red, to make it a little more orange in here. So just a little bit. And now it's orange. Right? So simple. Now if I wanted to scumble, as I mentioned, I clean the brush, I get all the Gamsol out of it, and again, you're just using really small amounts of paint. So I'll go up here to this one to make it redder. And scumbling is just dry brushing. I'm just going, you know, lightly, and this is where the texture of the canvas is really helpful. I better zoom in. There we go. And I'm just doing it really lightly. Or maybe I want to do it stronger there. Give it a real accent. but you can just really gently brush, and the little weave of the canvas will pick up the paint almost like pixels, because it's all, it's going to paint on the, shh, don't tell anybody. So it's basic, here we go. I know you're not supposed to do this, but it's my board, so I don't care. So that's the weave of the canvas. So if you just lightly brush it, you're just getting the tops of all the little woven parts. So it's almost like pixels, like you have just little dots of color, but the underlying color still shows